Okay, guys, it is Monday. It is time for On the Clock right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Daily free MLB picks, and we'll throw in some KBO at the end. Free pick show. We will be here every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, or one of the weekend days. And then on the other days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing a live hour, 9 a.m. Eastern, total bases, fully interactive show. We operate strictly off of the questions in the chat with Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard. So we will be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., live and on demand. But if you want to interact and you want to get your games, your questions answered in real time, come join us live tomorrow at 9 a.m. I've got 3 games to talk about today. I'm going to give you 3 free picks, 1 in Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, 2 in Major League Baseball, 1 in a KBO game that goes on Tuesday morning. And I want to get the housekeeping stuff out of the way before we get started. So I am running my biggest special that I'll have up all year on the site for Major League Baseball. For the next 3 days, my full MLB season is up for less than it's over 50% off. So it comes out to around $2 per day. Get you every play I'm going to make from now through the World Series. And like since the beginning of last year, I've been rolling in MLB. Had a great playoffs. If you look at my last 60 MLB releases, I'm 36, 23, and 1 in that span. That's 61%. And that's 43.81 units of profit. That's dating back to the playoffs last year. So we've done well in MLB. We're off to a good start this year. 3-0 on 5%ers in the MLB last week. Very slight gain overall. But we hit all the max plays last week in Major League Baseball. And like I said, comes out to around $2 per day for the rest of the season. Biggest special we will have all season long. And that is running through midnight on Wednesday. So if you're considering a long-term MLB package at all, I think that's the one for you. Head on over, grab that. And you'll also get my 4% MLB top-rated best bet, which goes on Monday night. All right, we're going to get 3 minutes on the clock here, and we're going to talk about 2 MLB games. Then I'm going to set you up with a couple of angles to start the week in KBO. 3 minutes on the clock. We're heading to Cleveland, and we're going to talk Twins Guardians. Listen, the Twins, very misleading good week in my opinion. They went 5-1, but they played the 2 worst teams in the American League at home in the Angels and the White Sox. And I would argue that they had a worse week than most because they lost Luke Keschel to a forearm injury. He's got a fractured forearm. He's going to be out for a considerable amount of time. And he had just gotten called up. He was the Twins' best player for the week that he was up. For the 7 or 8 games that he was up at the big league level, he was their best player. And he was a big reason that offense started to get going in that White Sox series. And you know, kind of gave the team a spark that they needed, that they now don't have, in my opinion. Yes, Byron Buxton had a good weekend again against the Angels. Not sure how much stock I put into that. Correa got his average up over 200, but they just faced the White Sox and the Angels, 2 terrible pitching staffs. Didn't see a ton of good pitching there. Now they hit the road, and now they've got to face Gavin Williams, who's someone I'm intrigued by. I like Gavin Williams going into this season. I think that like last year was pretty much a lost season for him in the respect that he got started late. He was coming off of an injury, seemed like he could never really get comfortable, and then kept ending up on the wrong side of close games. So like even though wins and losses don't matter to a pitcher, he ended up with a bunch of losses. And I just think it was a tough season for him after having so much success in 2023. I feel like he kind of felt like he let the team down a little bit, and it was just a tough season for him, kind of having to come off of injury, so on and so forth. This year, he really looks like much better. He looks like the guy that we thought we were getting with Gavin Williams in 2023. His fastball was hitting 99 last time out against the Yankees. I thought it was his best outing of the season high 8 strikeouts in the win, back-to-back games where he's pitched into the 7th inning. So he's someone I'm okay with backing right now. And, you know, both of these teams kind of have their issues. Both of these teams have bullpen issues, but I think I'd still rather have the Guardians bullpen. It's not the Guardians bullpen of last year, at least to this point. But the Twins kind of passed their two big guys, Jax and Duran. They have bullpen issues as well. And I look at the two offenses, and I think I'd rather have the Guardians offense. Again, both have some issues offensively, but I like the upside of the Guardians far more than I see any upside with the Twins. And of course, you're getting what I consider to be a good starting pitcher in Williams with upside, and the Guardians at home, which, the Twins, I feel like they're going to be a team that's okay at home, but this team goes on the road, they're not hitting. They're going to have a hard time winning games. I think the Twins are a bad baseball team. I've said it a couple times over the course of the last couple weeks. Maybe they turn it around at some point, but right now, this Twins team just isn't it for me. I would lean Guardians here. I think the number's about right. Not something I played as a client play, at least not yet, but I'll be monitoring it. This is one I at least am giving some thought to as the day goes on, especially if the Twins take some money. I think I'd be like that much more inclined to jump in with the Guardians and Gavin Williams, because I do have him circled as a guy I want to play on at some point. All right, let's head to the Lone Star State. We've got A's, Rangers, a series that produced a 5% max winner for me last week in a very similar matchup. I believe JP Sears was the pitcher in that game that we hit for a 5%er. And then the next night, Patrick Corbin pitched for the Rangers. Or I'm sorry, the night before, Patrick Corbin pitched for the Rangers. So I guess the takeaway there is both of these teams just saw the opposing pitcher. Normally that would mean runs, but I'm not sure that that's the case here, because both of these lineups kind of profile to be a little bit worse against left-handed pitching. And the Rangers are just not hitting right now at all. Like the Rangers are in rough shape offensively right now. Corey Seager is hurt. He's got a hamstring injury, so he goes on, presumably, looks like he's on the IL. I believe they did put him on the IL. And then you start to look at the rest of this lineup. Jock Peterson is in one of the biggest slumps of his career. Maybe he's coming out of it, but he was 0 for 40 at one point. Jake Berger's hitting under 200. This was supposed to be a nice pickup for them, and he's under the Mendoza line. Marcus Semien got taken out of the leadoff spot. He's hitting 150. So you have Seager hurt, and you've got all of these guys hitting that are supposed to be hitting 1 through 5 for your team, all struggling at the same time. So the Rangers are going to break out of this slump at some point, but until they do, or at least until they show some signs of it, it is really tough to bet on this Rangers team. The pitching, however, for the Rangers has been pretty solid. Patrick Corbin's been okay. And I think it helps being on a better baseball team. I think it helps the fact that he's not in a rotation full of all left-handed pitchers like he was last year. So I actually probably am higher than almost anyone that I've heard talk Major League Baseball this year on Patrick Corbin. That being said, he did get knocked around a little bit in that game, but he also was pitching with a lead last week. He only gave up 2 runs. He did give up 7 hits. But again, I've said this 3 or 4 times the past week or so. Since they brought Nick Kurtz up, this is an A's lineup that I think is much stronger against right-handed pitching. I think they're going to struggle a little bit against left-handed pitching. So I don't love the A's against a lefty. JP Sears has been pretty good, but I also don't love the fact that the A's are going to get that the Rangers are getting a second look against Sears in the last week. He did make it 5 innings, didn't really give up any damage, had a big lead. He's gone 5 or 6 in just about every game, but he's the type of guy where I think if you get a second look at him quickly, maybe there could be some offense. So this is a tricky game. I thought I was really going to like the A's here, but there is some stuff that puts me off. So I think if I had to throw a lean out in this game, just for the sake of talking about another game, I'd look at the under, because I do think that this number is a little bit inflated based on the types of games the A's have been playing. But remember, this game is not in West Sacramento. It's not at Sutter Health Park. It's going to be at Globe Life, which is a little bit more pitcher friendly. Neither lineup profiles great against left-handed pitching, and the Rangers are just not hitting right now. Straight up not hitting. So will they have their breakout at some point? Yes. But in this game, I think like 9.5, 9.5, whatever it is, you're going to get the A's better relievers. They all pitched yesterday, but they barely pitched. So you will see their better relievers. I would have to look at the under there. Just as like, again, there's 8 games tonight in Major League Baseball. If you're looking for 2 other games, so I did a video on WagerTalk First Pitch. I did 2 games. I talked about Yankees Orioles and I talked about Reds Cardinals. So there's only 8 games. One of them is one of my 4% plays that I'm not going to talk about on this show because it's to play up for sale on the site. So we're getting down the list. So not a super strong opinion in Rays A's or Rangers A's for me, but I do think if I was going to play there, I'd look to the total and play that under because I just both offenses against left-handed pitching right now, I think are fade worthy at this point. All right, let's finish this up and let's talk about some KBO. I've hit back-to-back KBO games over the weekend. I haven't released a play yet for Tuesday. I'm still waiting to check on a couple of things, but I am going to talk about a series or a game and some of the things I'm going to be looking for in the upcoming series because I think it could lead to a potential play. So let's get 3 minutes on the clock. We're going to talk NC Dinos, Kia Tigers, and I can't give out a play because I have to see lineups before this game starts. The reason, neither team is at full strength. So I talked about Kia a lot this weekend. I played Kia in every game of their series with LG. I lost on Friday, but then I came back and won with Kia on Saturday and won with Kia on Sunday. Part of the reason I wanted to back them is they got 2024 KBO MVP Do-Hyung Kim back on Friday. And I mean, that's such a game changer for a team like Kia, who was really like missing like one big bat, right? Like this is a Kia team that won the regular season and the Korean series last year. And so Do-Hyung Kim coming back sort of signified them being at full strength. Unfortunately for Kia, they lost Patrick Wisdom, their import slugger, and they lost Sungbum Na over the weekend. Now, we were able to still win on Saturday and Sunday without those guys, but a big reason I also liked Kia on Saturday and Sunday was it was Adam Oller on Saturday, and it was James Nails. So they had elite pitching and Do-Hyung Kim back in the lineup. I figured that Kia would be okay even without Patrick Wisdom. I did not know that Sungbum Na was going to be out for sure on Sunday, and it looks like he could be out and miss some time. So that's something I'm going to monitor because, Kia, even with their taking 2 of 3 from LG over the weekend, this is still a team that's 13-15. Yes, it helps tremendously getting Do-Hyung Kim back, but if you now subtract Wisdom and Na, this is a team that probably is a 500, potentially a sub 500 team. So, it makes it difficult to back them. I'm certainly not going to look to back them going forward without those guys, and especially not when it's not Adam Oller or James Nail on the mound. And so, that's the biggest difference here. Kia was able to get it done on Saturday and Sunday with their best pitchers on the hill. With Do-Hyung Kim pitching, I mean, he's okay, but he's not someone I expect to go out and shut another KBO team down. So that is a concern. Now, the problem, why I can't just turn around and take NC, which I absolutely would. NC Dinos at 9-16 are quite undervalued. This is a team that's had a lot of adversity. They haven't had a home field. They've had games canceled. They've had injuries. They're a team that I want to play on at some point, but they're still without Matt Davidson, who's their import bat, and Kunwoo Park, who's one of their better hitters. He's been out with a hamstring injury as well. So what I'll be looking for NC this week is Davidson back in the lineup, is Kunwoo Park back in the lineup. If they are, I would strongly consider NC Dinos here. Logan Allen, not the one on the Guardians. The other one that used to be on the Guardians is the starter for NC in this game. He struggled to start his KBO career, but he has looked better in his last couple outings, specifically his last outing against LG. I felt like he threw the ball well. He only made it 4 1/3, but I felt like he threw the ball much better in that game against a very good LG lineup. If this is, I slight lean toward NC. I lean NC here. Kia, now that they're down two of their better starting offensive players, I would have to look to fade Kia when James Nail or Adam Oller is not on the mound. The problem is I don't know what NC Dino's lineup we're getting here, and I don't know if we'll know that prior to like an hour before the game. So this is likely one that's not going to make my card because I'm not willing to guess. NC is not deep enough and they're not good enough where I want to guess on that. But if Matt Davidson pops back up in the lineup or Kunwoo Park pops back up in the lineup for NC, I don't hate an NC Dinos minus 110, minus 115 money line, which is what it currently is right now. So free pick, and again, with an asterisk, NC Dinos money line, but you've got to see the lineups and see if they've got any reinforcement. If Davidson is back in there, it's a play I'd be willing to make. If he's not, I wouldn't want a client play on that. So I'm going to pass on it. I'm not going to make it a rated play, but those are things I'm sort of looking at, NC and Kia, as we go into the new week and into that series they'll be playing the next 3 days. So I'll be looking at to see which teams get who back, and maybe there's a play later in the week on NC. That was on the clock. 3 free picks. If you want another 2 MLB free picks, I did the first pitch show today, and I talked about Yankees Orioles and Reds Cardinals. And then if you're looking for my top play on Monday, it's up on my page, 4%, top rated best bet, and a huge MLB special that's going to be up for the next 3 days and the next 3 days only. So that'll expire Wednesday at midnight. It gets you every play I'm going to make from now to the World Series at a insanely low rate, less than $2. It comes out to about $2 per day. So I want you to join me on that. And if you don't, no hard feelings. I love that you're tuning into these shows anyway, and I very much appreciate that. So I'll just take a like and maybe a subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel is just fine. And I will see you guys back 9 a.m. live WagerTalk YouTube channel with Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard for Total Bases on Tuesday morning. Cash all your tickets. We will see you guys tomorrow.